That are going on in Brazos County, and Judge Duane Peters joins us this morning. Judge, thanks for being here.
Morning, Scott. Thank you for having me.
I want to start first so that folks understand. There may be people who don't pay attention to this, maybe people who haven't lived in Texas forever. The county judge is actually the elected chief administrative officer as opposed to a city manager or a superintendent who is hired by a governing body. This job has changed a lot. You've been on commission since 2003, judge since 2010. How has this job changed?
Well, I mean, we now have rolled into an urban area. So, I mean, there's just lots of things going on. It's not just kind of county stuff. It's really, we collaborate with both cities and the university on a lot of things. So it's a lot different. The difference, I think, a big difference between city government and county government is that, I really can't get anything done. City manager can make a lot of calls. I have to have a couple of votes, to get anything done, and we can't do all of that without, potentially violating Open Meetings Act. So we're certainly different. It's a different structure, but things have changed a lot since I came into office.
I know one of the things you're wanting to make sure people understand is the project is the 101 building. It's the old Bryan Administration Building, BISD Administration Building, got torn down, and so now you're going to build a building over there. And I know that two members of the court said, we don't want to vote on this till we understand what this $50 million or $55 million project is. And so they have been brought up to speed to some extent. Explain to our listeners exactly what this 101 project is.
Okay, so we have a need for office space, a good bit really. I mean, for instance, there will be a public defender's office, the adult probation, and then JP and Constable Precinct 4 in that building. The JP Constable Precinct 4 are currently located on the fourth floor with 3 district courts. I mean, the longer term goal is that once we can vacate those JP Constable 4 out of there, we need a spot for the 472nd. That's the new district court. So we need to remodel that to be able to locate them. They're currently in what's in the old historical 85th, and we've used that in the past for if there was a large trial with lots of folks, they would move down there because it's a bigger area than the district courts upstairs. And so, and we've also used it sometimes for jury voir dire and other things. So that's one of the needs of getting JP Constable 4 out of there, so it makes room for the new court or be able to do that. Public Defender's Office is something that was created 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but the counties are required to do indigent defense. So that's part of the state mandates that we're required to do. Public Defender's Office is one thing that it looked like, and we had a lot of positive feedback to that. That's what we needed to create. We have them put in what was the old JP 2, I think it was 2 place 1, but one of those JP offices downstairs, and they're cubicled in there and just kind of stuffed in there. We have to have more space. When we got that grant for the Public Defender's Office, we assured them that we would provide much better space for them. The other thing about Public Defender's Office is that in other areas where they've been able to go regional, the state will reimburse counties in a regional setting at a higher level than what they do normally. I mean, like the grant funds we get today, we started out with 100%, and then it's 80%, and it drops down to 0. If we can go regional, then that means that you bring in like the surrounding small counties, and then the state in other areas that they've done that, they'll pay at like maybe 30 or 40% of the cost, which normally is going to be borne by the local county.
So let me stop you there because the regional approach is interesting. You're also going to have a change over in the old church. You're going to go ahead and add square footage over there. Mm-hmm. Lots of square footage. That tells me more people, which means you're going to have a bigger payroll, which means your budget's going to be bigger. Is that fair to say?
Well, I mean, we're certainly growing, but we've got people over there in the admin building that are stuffed into closets. Most of them are crowded in. It's not just the public defender's office. It's a lot of offices over there. You went over and you walked around in offices, you'd see that it's right now it's crowded, and that's really the best way to try to gain more office space is to remodel that area that we've got over there.
Well, you mentioned regional approach, which makes me think when you have a medical examiner's office coming in, when you have this other building coming in, is this where the future of Brazos County is, that you become the regional strongest county surrounded by other counties who will look to you to do some services with them?
Well, and a lot of times the state looks at that kind of idea, and they really seem to have liked regional approach because, for instance, in the case of a public defender, the smaller counties don't have the capacity to be able to do that. And with a public defender's office, much more difficult for a small county. So if you do a regional approach and have those attorneys here, they can actually go out to those other counties and defend their defendants that are indigent also. So the state likes that kind of stuff, and they participate in the cost of it at a much higher degree, usually, if you're able to go regional and think regional rather than just your own county.
Is that on a continuing basis? In other words, every year, not just for 1 or 2 years? That's something that they would do?
So what they've done in other counties is they participate long term. As long as there's money there, they participate. That's my hope, is that that's what they would do. It wouldn't be just a short like it is right now. It was like a 5-year grant, and then it plays out totally. With the regional approach in other areas, they have done it long term and continue to do it.
I want a short answer on this because I know there's a lot of people talking about what in the world do we need to have some sort of skywalk between Building 1 and over the existing building to 101. So a short answer on that.
So that is a safe passage for there's 3 of those departments over there need to go back and forth to the courthouse. And there's no way to safely cross that without a safe passage, skywalk if you care, but it's a safe passage. The other thing that we looked at also was that for secure parking for judges, right now they park in front of the courthouse right there next to Texas Avenue. I mean, we had talked about a few years ago about trying to build a wall, much like Bryan PD has in their parking, to make it secure. But there's no really room to do that because the sidewalk is right there against our parking lot and then the Texas Avenue. And what we found recently is that part of our parking lot is actually in TxDOT's right of way. And when they do that expansion over there, they're probably going to need it. Now they've told me that, well, we may be able to work something out, but it will never be secure. And that's really that, by having the building over there and a secure passageway, it would give us a place where we can actually secure across the street and have judges and prosecuting attorneys go across. I mean, I'm sure you're aware there have been other areas where you get somebody that's crazy that does crazy things.
Sure.
And we want to make sure they're all safe.
Judge Duane Peters, Brazos County Judge here. You have 2 new members on your court. Both have extensive administrative background, and they've been more vocal than new ones have before. How has the court changed? The first thing I thought was a workshop. Maybe you've had workshops before. I don't know, but you're having a workshop coming up. Tell me what kind of changes with these new administrative eyes and the new court members.
Well, I mean, anytime you have new people on the court, they really need to find out how county government works and how we're required to do it. I mean, there's a lot of rules that are set up by the legislature, and we have to adhere to them. So it's a learning process from both sides. It's learning from my perspective with them to understand what it is that they need to know. I mean, I've been there long enough that I've got a pretty good feel for how it works and what you can do and what you can't do. And sometimes we move forward and don't think about, well, they hadn't been here before and they really don't understand all that. So that's what we're trying to do, is get them up to speed so they'll understand those kind of things.
Well, Washington has a Doge. Austin's decided they do have a Doge. Are we going to see a Doge in Brazos County?
Well, I mean, we're going to that workshop is for government efficiency, for county efficiency. I don't know that the two really match with county government, because we as commissioners and the county judge, that's really what our charge is to oversee that budget. That's what we're paid to do. We're full-time employees, and that's what I think people elected us to do, to make sure that budget is efficient. So I don't. It's not like we've got 150 or 500 people that I'm talking about department heads or congressmen or even state legislators. We've got 5 people that actually oversee that budget. Now, having a fresh set of eyes take a look at things, that's a good thing, and I think with the 2 new commissioners, they can take a look and see whether they think things are, if there's ways that we might make things more efficient. That's a good thing. The problem that I see with trying to create a citizen committee is that if you don't understand where the limits are and what state law says you can do and what you can't do, you'd have to train those citizens up to that speed. And we've always run fairly efficient with personnel, and we really don't have the personnel to sit down and talk to citizens long term to try to bring them up to speed about what it needs to be. In my opinion, it's better to do that with the Commissioners Court.
So Brazos County is going to take over the parking garage, and people may or may not remember, concrete started falling off the ceiling. Well, Bill Oliver, newshound that he is, went after it, and he never got anything. And then I find out the county judge didn't even know what happened. And so it's kind of this mysterious box. To this day, I don't know that we know, and that might not matter, except now the county's about to take that over. Have we bought a pig in a poke here? We don't know what the operating cost is going to be. What are we locking Brazos County into if the garage becomes ours?
Okay, so what they found over there was nothing structural. It was cosmetic, and those are the kind of things that the transit district has repaired or is in the process. There's one more thing that needs to be done, and that's replace the gates. The gates were put in when it was brand new. So that's and the only reason they hadn't been done is because they hadn't been able to get the product. I mean, there's been a slowdown on that kind of thing. So that's what's delayed that. The parking garage does not make the transit district money because we, the county, get to park free. All of our employees park free over there, and the jurors park free over there. And the only way that the transit district could end up making money is if they begin to charge the county and for the employees and the jurors, which would raise our cost for that. In my opinion, and I certainly believe it's the way it should be, is the county needs to control that. When we gave that property to the transit district for that garage to be built, and it was built with grant funds, I don't remember what the number exactly was, but it was $18 to $20 million what it cost at the time. And it's valued right now in the appraisal district at about $24 million. So instead of waiting until that the deed said that they gave us that property back, and I think it's maybe 2040 something. It's when it was automatically come back to us. Mm-hmm. They want to give it to us now because it's not a money maker. We're the ones that do most of the parking over there, so we really should be the ones that control it.
Okay. Finally, let's talk about the inner loop. There are people who, obviously, anytime you try to build a road, there's going to be somebody upset. This group has become vocal. I've certainly heard more vocal before, but tell me your view as to where we stand with that right now.
Okay, so I know you're aware that in 2017, the 2050 plan was put in place by the MPO after public hearings, and during those public hearings there were like 4,000 comments that were made, written and verbal. So there was a lot of public input on the 2050 plan when it was done in 2017. That line was drawn, but it was just drawn there to signify that there was a need of an east loop at some time in the future. As county judge, I'm sitting there and I'm seeing all this development going on and subdivisions going in and all. And while that line's not defined, because there hadn't been a study done, you can't tell where it really should be. And I keep seeing subdivisions, they're just popping up. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that if they keep popping up there, there's going to be very hard to put an east loop out there when it's needed. And likely it would go through a bunch of subdivisions. So the bond issue that was passed in 2022, it has several projects. One of those was the East Loop, and it was passed by 65% of the voters in Brazos County. And I've been here all my life, and I've seen the growth go from a rural community to an urban community we're in now, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I know there's some that think that we're not going to grow, but we're not going to be able to build a wall around Brazos County. It's going it's going to continue to do what it has been because there's a lot of people that want to be here and there's businesses that want to be here.
So then there's 214. Now, are we talking two different things here?
Yeah, two totally different things. 214 or I-14 is an interstate that would be built by the federal government in coordination with TxDOT, but and that line, while it's had a general line of 190, which would either, they've talked about whether it comes up 30 or it comes up 21. I mean, the line that was just kind of generally drawn following that was it has a lot of dog legs in it. I mean, it goes up and down and all that. And I doubt that they're going to build an interstate with that kind of thing. So to me, it looks like they will probably draw a line from Georgia all the way to El Paso and kind of straighten that thing out as much as possible. So, I mean, the interstate's something that's longer term. I mean, it's lots of money and it's lots of states involved in it. So, yeah, and it's totally different from this interloop.
Gotcha. I appreciate you coming in. We probably need to do this more often. Tell me more. You got one more thing?
One more thing.
Please.
One of the things that I found out just recently, I mean, because once we do this study and we come to a final solution that says it's been cleared environmentally by the state and the feds and everything, and we have a route, then I've wondered, well, okay, what happens then for all those people that are on that route, that final route? And I just found out really that it doesn't impact anybody that owns land out there. The only way it impacts them is if you want to put a subdivision in. If you want to develop it, then you have to see that line and you have to put that into your plat that there is a line there that has to go through there. If you're an individual or whatever and you want to build a house and you want to put it right there on top of where that's at, you can do that. You can build a barn. You can build anything you want to. And when the decision is made that need is there for that loop, they will be bought out by TxDOT. That's who would be the agency that's going to be doing the buying of any property. And so when that happens, they will buy it and pay for whatever you put out there on it. So it doesn't limit anybody to do anything on their property unless you're going to subdivide it and put it into a subdivision.
Good. You answered a question many people ask. There's no doubt. Thanks for the time this morning.
Okay.
That's Duane
Thanks, Scott.
Peters. You bet. He's the county judge.